Yeah, all good?
Good, fine. Everything okay.
Perfect. So thank you so much for joining us at the first Educlouds Star Talks. This is the first time we'll be talking about, we'll be exploring the international space. And I'd love to start the session by talking about the inception, the origin of the moon. Because in the textbooks, we talk about that moon is a satellite. Moon has been with the Earth since the origin of the Earth itself. But please tell the audience, like, how do we know that how was the moon formed?
You see, when we started with this lunar exploration, there were
Yeah.
three theories. One
Okay.
is that whatever the material was there, the Earth and Moon formed simultaneously.
All right.
On one side, Earth was formed, on another side, Moon was formed. The other
Mhm.
theory was that it has come out of the Pacific Ocean
The
of the
moon.
Earth. Yes.
Okay.
That is also written in our scriptures.
All right.
Okay, so because the size is about the same,
Right. Yeah.
and so it has fissioned out of the earth. The third is that uh, Earth, this moon was going around as a stray body, and Earth
Hmm.
captured it. So
Yes, that
these
actually
three,
makes sense. The third one makes sense. Yeah.
yes. But now, after looking at the moon, studying its samples, and doing a lot of very precise work in the laboratory from various sites, we have come to the conclusion that the moon uh, has been generated by impact of a body on Earth in the very early days when Earth was being formed.
Oh, so
Okay,
basically, it's part
this
of the
called
Earth.
yeah, it is called giant impact hypothesis.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
so because there is a reason for all this, which we can go into. They are very simple reasons.
Sure.
uh, the giant impact is that Earth is being formed out of the dust and gas around the
Hmm.
sun,
Yeah.
and something comes and is not captured, because capturing is very difficult. It comes and impacts the Earth, and a lot of dust is raised and goes around the Earth, and it accumulates and forms two moons, one small
Okay.
and one big one. And now the big one has captured the small one, and that is our moon.
Right.
So
So
this
basically, we
yes,
initially had, sorry to cut you off, we initially had two moons when we started.
yes, that is
Oh,
the
okay.
theory.
Okay. Okay. Pretty interesting. Super interesting, actually. So, what happened to the second one? The second one kind of merged in the bigger moon. They kind of crashed,
Yes.
or what?
No, it was not crashed, but it was engulfed. You see, both were traveling together.
Right. Right.
So this whole thing happens actually. I was myself surprised by, if you make a computer program, the whole thing happens very quickly. It doesn't
Okay.
take long time. And the reason for this is very simple, and I think your readers will, your audience will appreciate that moon has less volatiles, that means easily evaporated elements, compared to Earth.
Okay.
So only in a hot event those volatiles can escape.
Right. And then they did
Something is
escape. Yeah.
very hot, then things
Yeah.
like potassium and sodium will go away, and the other elements which are not so volatile, which are refractory, they are more in moon than on Earth. And there are
Right.
various other reasons to believe that.
Just
So
talking about the reflective part, is that one of the reasons why we see the moon so shining brightly from the Earth? Because they got a lot of reflectory elements.
yes, well, you're partly true. What happens is that moon, if you look carefully, it is made of two parts. One
Okay.
are bright and one are dark.
Okay.
So these dark things you can see in a full moon or half moon night. Now the Earth when it was formed, it has calcium and aluminum. Now, this calcium and aluminum are whitish
Right.
substances. Their compounds are whitish, more reflective, and that formed the crust of the moon.
Oh,
So, moon had a crust which was calcium aluminum silicate, and which is
okay.
white. It is, like limestone,
Yeah,
makrana,
yeah.
the marble. So it
Now I understand.
shines
Yeah.
more. Then what happened is that small bodies came from space and hit the moon. And
All
this
right.
crust, which was uh, 50 kilometer thick or something like that, different at different places, that got punctured, and inside is dark.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so that dark thing shows, and those are the craters. We call them mare, Maria, because when Galileo saw them, he thought they are oceans.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Galileo was the
so
first one who discovered it from the Earth. I have read that entire story. He was the first person to actually discover it, and there were multiple conspiracies that happened against him at that point. I'm not sure how correct I am on this, but yes, I did watch it on History TV.
yes, yeah, Galileo was, he is the man who made a small telescope, or he
Yes,
used a
yes,
small telescope to look in the sky, and he said many things.
yes,
He said that there are four moons of Jupiter and all that kind of thing.
exactly.
Uh, and but the greatest thing he found, as far as moon is concerned, is that it has these dark areas which are lower than the bright areas which are higher. So he called them hills
Oh,
and
okay.
mares. Mare means ocean. Hills means highlands, he used to call it.
Okay. So when you call ocean, like again, there are a lot of theories that water has been found in moon. So what do you have to say for these theories? Because I'm very intrigued on this particular question.
Now, it is a very important thing. When we got the Apollo samples, before that, of course, there are a lot of speculations.
Yeah.
Then we looked for water. First thing we looked is for water.
Hmm.
And we found that it is bone dry. There is not
Okay.
even water of crystallization. Some compounds are formed taking water of crystallization in them. Even that was not there. So this was the story from 19, let us say 69, 70 to almost around 2000, that
Okay.
there's no water on moon.
Right.
But when we sent Chandrayaan 1,
Hmm.
then it fell upon me to decide what it should do.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
yeah, and because I had this long understanding of the moon, and probably the only person around who knows, who worked on moon samples, all the Apollo samples, all the Russian samples.
Wow.
Then this was a big challenge to me. And in ISRO, we don't want to do repeat things. We could have
Hmm.
easily gone and done what others have done. But I said, well, we will look for water. What I noticed is that all the samples of the moon have come from equatorial regions,
Okay.
from near the equator, plus minus
Yeah.
10 or 20
Yeah.
degrees.
Yeah.
It
Yeah. Yeah.
was easier to go there and actually much easier to come out. If you go to the
Right.
pole, it is difficult for you to plan your return trip.
Got it. Yeah. Yeah. True.
So what I said is, let us first do a polar orbiter. So go around the poles of the moon.
Okay.
So explore something which has not been done before. Not knowing
Interesting.
what we can find, I think the best thing is to explore uncharted areas.
Yeah.
So we designed this lunar polar orbiter. Chandrayaan 1 is a lunar polar orbiter, and every hour it sees one or the other pole. It takes 2 hours to go around at
Okay.
100 kilometer height, looks at the North Pole, then comes and looks at the South Pole.
Right. So
And
one more question, a small tweak. When you say hours, the Earth hours are different, the Moon hours are different, correct? Because
No,
here the 1 hour is
hours,
60 minutes. There, there's a difference in time, right?
it depends on how you define it. We always go by Earth hours.
Okay. Okay.
So every 1 Earth hour. Now a moon, it is difficult to define because day there is 14 days, 14 Earth days.
Oh,
1 day on moon is 14 Earth
14 days.
days, and one
Wow.
night is another 14 Earth nights.
Okay, that's why it's difficult to define an hour.
No, well, we can define that's not difficult, but we are more
Okay.
familiar with it. So,
On the Earth hours.
so
Okay.
and we discovered water there for the first time conclusively. There were,
Okay.
before we actually found it, there were some talks about water being there, possibility of water being there, and people had some faint idea, some experimental evidence that maybe water is there. But Chandrayaan 1 is the one mission which showed that water is definitely there.
Wow. So that's a great Indian discovery. Yeah.
Yeah, it is a discovery of Chandrayaan 1. Discovery in the sense it really established. The reason for that is that we put 4 experiments to look for water.
Oh,
Because
okay.
if you just put one experiment, you may get some result plus minus, some error is there, it didn't work, it worked. So actually, everybody was telling me, why are you putting 4 experiments?
Yeah.
It is redundant and it is so expensive to go put something another new experiment instead just doing the same thing by different techniques. So we put, I wanted to be sure that the results we get should be right. So first thing we put is a spectrometer, which takes the spectrum of the moon as it is reflected. The sunlight falls on the moon, comes back, you analyze. If there is a water drop even in the atmosphere, there is no atmosphere, of course, on the moon, but if there are few atoms, it will produce a dip at 3 micron.
Okay.
3 micron is the what you call the wavelength, the frequency of the light, which is absorbed by water.
Oh, okay.
So it will absorb and there will be dip. Supposing you put a lamp here and a water bottle here
Yeah.
and a spectrometer, 3 micron will be absorbed by the water and others will come through.
Correct.
So that is one experiment. It was actually put by Carly Peters from US.
Okay.
That is another story. I can tell you how we got that thing. The other, we put a what you call a radar.
Okay.
A radar can look into the earth, inside the earth, not only surface, but it can look a meter or two inside the earth. I mean, here earth
Yeah.
is the moon. What I
Yeah. Yeah. I
mean
get
is
it. I
that
get it.
earth is like,
Yeah. Because I was thinking that
so
we jumped from moon to Earth. Okay. Yeah. Go
no,
on,
I'm
please.
sorry. By
That's all
earth
right.
we mean soil. Let us say
Yeah.
earth has
Yeah.
two meanings: the earth and the soil.
The soil.
So we wanted to look inside the moon. Maybe it is buried. Water is buried there.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we had a photographer of taking this, and we had hyperspectral images put by Dr. Kiran Kumar of the Space Application Center. And then there was one experiment by Dr. Bharadwaj
Okay.
and his team to look at the atmosphere of the moon. So there
Okay.
were 4 experiments which all detected water.
Oh, all of them.
Yes, of course, if it is there,
Wow.
it should be seen in all.
No,
That was
no.
the
Normally,
idea.
what happens is that if you do one experiment, you get certain results. If you do another experiment, the results are in a different fashion altogether. So it's interesting to find out that all the experiments gave one conclusive result. That's great.
And it is not a small amount. There are billions of tons of water on moon.
Okay. So let's talk about the second question, which is derived from this question itself. Like, when you say there's a lot of water, then why are we trying to colonize Mars and not Moon?
That is because moon doesn't have an atmosphere. You need
Okay,
an
Mars does.
atmosphere. You see, we are lucky that we have atmosphere,
True.
because these from space, lot of rocks come and hit.
Hmm.
So that is why moon is so heavily cratered. The number of bodies which come and hit moon and earth, they are very large. Actually, earth gets many more of them because of its bigger gravity.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
The
the
pole is
gravity
greater.
10 times more roughly.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So moon is so cratered. So what is the point in going there? You
Yeah.
will be hit by some big rock.
So
So
when we
here
talk about,
also, yeah,
yeah,
sorry.
when we talk about the atmosphere, you say, like, you only said that moon does not have an atmosphere. So does Mars has one, or
Yes,
like why
of
are we
course.
going on Mars particularly? So they have an atmosphere.
There are many reasons actually. It just can't be one reason.
Okay.
Mars is actually like a younger brother of Earth.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It is everything which Earth has.
Hmm.
It has volcanoes, it has atmosphere, uh, uh, it has winds, it has storms, it has water, and so on. It is just about half, the size. So I call it younger brother, or
Yeah.
it has a axis which is inclined. It has a day which is roughly 25 hours, like we have 24-hour day.
So
So
the conditions
all
are
this,
alike.
yeah, all this make Mars habitable. And actually, in the beginning, now the Mars has changed over time. In the beginning, Mars was exactly like Earth. In fact, some people say the life on Earth came from Mars.
Yes, I have heard this theory. There's a theory which says that us humans, when initially living on Mars, we polluted the planet to such extent that we had to send a capsule to Earth just to populate the Earth. That's the kind of theories that flow on the internet. So yeah, I've read some of these theories. It doesn't make much sense, but yes, it's good to look at it.
No, that is only a story. I don't think that is
Exactly.
true.
No, oh,
But
definitely, it is a story, sci-fi story.
yeah, but it is habitable.
Right.
Only problem is the temperature is very low there.
Okay. How low are we
He-
talking about?
Now, here on Earth, we have something like plus 30 degrees or something, 30
Mhm.
degrees Celsius. On Mars, it will be minus 50 on the average.
Minus 50.
It's
Damn.
far away from the sun, Naturally, it will be cooler.
Yeah,
Less
but
sunlight
minus
will
50.
reach there.
Yeah. So, as per the human evolution is concerned, all the early age Mars citizens will obviously be humans based on Earth. But after a course of time, I think, do you think we will be able to sort of adapt to the conditions, like even after like 100 years, in terms of the human evolution? What do you say?
Yeah, I think we know how to live in minus 50 degrees on our Greenland and Antarctica. The temperature is
Exactly.
similar.
Exactly.
So that is not difficult. On Moon, on the other hand, the
Hmm.
temperature varies between, let us say, it is 120 degrees Celsius in the daytime.
Okay.
That we don't
Okay.
know how to manage.
True.
It is minus, that is below zero, minus 130 degrees in the night.
Wow. Okay.
And if you go to the pole, it is something like minus 200 degrees, minus 180 degrees in the poles. So that is
So
why water is there on the poles, of Moon, because water goes, becomes ice, and stays put.
right. So basically, we have found ice and not water as of now, like not
That is
liquid
that's
water. Okay.
That's true. Of course, there are some claims of liquid water here and there, because when
Hmm.
it is hit by something, it gets molten. The
Right.
ice gets molten.
Of course. Of
So,
course. Yeah.
yeah.
So just adding on to this, what would we find? Like if we drill down in Earth, we'll find certain different things, and we can go to the crust. We know for sure that what's in the Earth's crust, Earth's core. But do we know what's in the moon's core? Like, have we drilled down? Have we drilled down further enough?
We have only gone 2 or 3 meters. That is not much. But we have done another experiments. You can't drill through the earth and find out what is there. There's an easier way to do it. That
Okay.
give a seismic signal and look
Okay.
on the other side
Huh.
and
Oh
see
yeah.
what kind of signal is received.
I got it. Yeah.
Okay. So if the signal you get is some peculiar thing, it is molten, solid, or what mineral is there, you can identify. So, but we don't have to even put a source of this, seismic waves. The God does it for us. The nature does it for us. When
Yeah.
impact takes place, that signal is produced. And as I said,
Correct.
a lot of impacts are taking place on moon.
Yeah.
So
So
all
the
you do is put an audio thing, hear what it is saying. Uh, okay. And
that
that
does.
was done by Apollo astronauts. And very interestingly,
Hmm.
you have heard the temple bell, right?
Yes.
Once you
Yes.
you do the temple bell, it goes on
Correct.
and on for a long time.
Yeah.
Same thing happens on moon.
So
It
moon
just doesn't
is
stop.
so it's like a huge temple bell.
Well, but we have
Yeah.
learned a
Right.
lot.
Speaking of your learnings, like you've studied quite a lot of samples of the moon. You've studied the dust, you've studied the rocks, and I've also heard that when the spaceships come back to Earth, they don't even they actually kind of collect the dust from the astronaut suit as well, because they do not want to waste any single part of it. So let's talk about the dust and the samples, and what are the different findings that we have got from these.
No findings. There are many findings. Dust
Some of
is
the interesting
actually a
ones.
nuisance.
Okay.
Dust is a nuisance because if your camera, it will be filled with dust. The lens will be covered.
Yeah.
You can't live there. So our Chandrayaan 1 actually found a what you call a lava tube, what you call a cave, which is several
Okay.
kilometers long and 100 meters wide. So if you want to have a safe house, you go and live inside that. That is a hollow tube is there.
Oh,
We call it Cobra tube or something like that. Uh, so this is for another discovery of our Chandrayaan 1.
right. What about the
That
the rocks? Have you learned something interesting from by analyzing the rocks? Like interesting for the viewers. You've always learned everything about the moon now. So something interesting for the viewers about the rocks particularly.
Well, many interesting things about the rocks. Uh,
Hmm.
you see, there are three theories uh, that um, you see the rocks. I mean, the moon has no volcanism now because when we dated the
Hmm.
rocks of the moon in the Apollo 11 and 12 and all that missions,
Yeah,
the oldest was 3.2 billion years,
you said billion. Yeah.
billion.
All right.
Moon
Okay.
was formed 4.5 billion years ago, or 4.4, I would say, to be more precise. Earth was formed 4.5, like that. So 3.2. So everybody said there is no volcanism on moon. In
Right.
our colloquial language, we say moon is dead. That means there's
Moon is
no
dead.
activity, no
Right. Right.
activity, no
Okay. Okay.
volcanic activity, no
Yeah.
eruptions, no gases coming out. So we used to say moon is dry and moon is dead. Dead means no volcanic
No
activity.
volcanic
But
activity.
Chandrayaan 1 found spinels. It is a special mineral, which
Okay.
showed and dated, which showed that um, moon was once molten and
Hmm.
volcanism is occurring even till recently, till
Oh.
about 2 million. Now, this is 2 million or 10 million years ago, we have found rocks which were formed 2 million years ago, whereas the big mare which I talked was formed 3 billion years ago. So there's a big factor between them. The third theory was that moon there's no tectonic activity on moon.
Okay.
Tectonic activity means things move from one place to another. You know, our hills slide and we have landslides and we have
Yes.
um, one continent move, breaking
Geological
into two.
activities. Yeah.
Yes. So there is no tectonic activity, but Chandrayaan-1 found that there is. So
Oh,
these
okay.
three things, that moon is not dry or not bone dry, as we used to call it. It is not dead, and it is active. These three are the major discoveries of Chandrayaan-1.
Got it. Pretty interesting. Like when we hear about these missions, the news highlights the main factors. Like okay, or the Indian the ISRO sent X amount of missions, and they were successful or they were not successful. The media does not highlight the main findings. So that's why the interactions like these help the audience to understand that okay, there were some findings, and we gave some conclusive proofs about multiple theories that were not proven at that point. So yeah, pretty interesting. Let's talk about the aspect about what it takes to take an actual spaceship from Earth to the moon. Like obviously there are multiple things to discuss here, but let's just talk about the five main things which we need to prepare to send an unmanned mission or a manned mission, whichever you choose, to the moon.
You see, in space research, everybody has to do his own work. Nobody tells you how it is done. There's no
Okay.
exchange of information. In other branches of science, say I do nuclear physics or
Yeah.
I do atomic physics or something, other countries or other scientists will tell me. But space and atomic energy are two things in which it's very secret. So we have to do everything ourselves. And you rightly said that our media does not highlight what new things we did, which others have
Exactly.
not done.
Exactly.
Uh, this was particularly obvious about Mars. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Uh, we had to innovate for two reasons. One
Okay.
is that we didn't have uh, very powerful rockets
Okay.
like America has or Russia had, or we had PSLV, which could barely go to the moon with a small, maybe 50
Oh
kilogram of
yes.
instruments.
Yes. I know the story. Yeah, please continue. Yeah.
So we didn't have GSLV at that time.
Yeah.
So we had to really improvise how to
Yeah.
go there, because you need a lot of energy.
True.
And then what happens is moon is moving and you have to land.
Yes.
So it is like getting into a moving car.
Indians are expert there. Yeah.
So we did many things, but it can be categorized in three ways: innovation and miniaturization, because we didn't have carrying capacity for large things, and then what new to do.
Right.
If you don't want to rediscover the wheel, and ISRO never does that. So we did
Yeah.
everything fresh, everything ourselves. I'll tell you this, illustrate a little bit
Yeah.
by Mars mission. That was almost impossible,
Okay.
because going to moon is difficult with this PSLV, and going to Mars is even more difficult.
Right.
So even for going, we had to use Earth's gravity very appropriately to go out of the Earth. Then sun's or interplanetary gravity, sun's gravity to go up to Mars, and then Mars gravity to be captured there.
Yeah.
See, if you send a rocket from Sriharikota straight to Mars, you need CSLV. And we
Yes.
didn't have it that time. So
And
we had
plus,
to
the
launch
government
it.
also did not give the exact number of funds to fund a mission which has to go to the moon, to the Mars. Because there's actually an entire documentary made on Discovery, and plus there's also an entire movie made on this, Mission Mangal. So, and obviously there could be facts which the audience does not know about because it's not yet told in the media nor in the movie, which we'll love to today.
Okay, so I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Yes, we are. We can do things in less funds. See, Rutherford, when American asked him, "How do you do such great science?"
Yeah.
He said, "We don't have money, so we have to think."
Yeah.
Okay,
Exactly.
if you have money, you can do any way you like. So we launched. Coming back to this Mars mission, we had to launch it from Pacific Ocean.
Okay.
Yeah, but we don't have a launching station there. So we launched
Exactly.
from here, Sriharikota. There is a stage 1, 2. Then 3 has to actually be stopped. We didn't ignite the. When I say we, I mean ISRO. It's easy to say
Yeah,
we.
yeah, I get it. Yeah,
Because I was part of it.
of course.
So it was the ignition was delayed so
Yeah.
that it started falling.
Oh,
And that was a very dangerous phase, you know.
of
It
course.
fell
Yeah.
for some many seconds. So, and it is moving also at the same time. So it came to the correct latitude or correct
And
longitude.
yeah.
And then we ignited the 4th stage. If you send a mission from a particular point, then where minimum energy is required, you don't have to change the direction in space. If you send from Sriharikota or India somewhere, you have
Yeah,
to
yeah,
go
yeah.
and then turn left and turn right and
Of
all
course.
that.
Yeah.
So we did it right here before launching into space by using
So
Earth's gravity.
yeah, and one more thing which I just realized, like these things cannot be practiced. It's all
No,
impromptu. I think you literally have to do all of these things at one go. If it is successful, it is successful. If it's not, yeah, get ready for a good bashing by a senior.
you
So
know,
it's
no country has sent the first mission to Mars successfully. We did it.
successfully. Yes, yes, yes.
ISRO did it. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just.
You are a part of
So
ISRO. So when you say we, it actually makes sense. So it's comfortable to say we.
it's a very big team, and
Of course,
everybody,
yeah.
plays his role. And every role,
100%.
like in a car, every screw is important.
Yeah.
Everybody's role is critical. Then what problem came is that once it is there on the right path, at the right point, you get out of the Earth's orbit. Then you have to go all the way to Mars. So there you shut off the engine
Okay. So it's
and
just the
use
gravitational pull.
gravitation of the sun.
Mars. Oh,
Okay, the
okay.
interplanetary gravitation. It
Okay.
keeps on going by itself. But there we had a problem that once you reach Mars, this engine has to be started.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That
That
actually
is
makes
9
sense.
months.
Yeah.
That is like Kumbhakarna, you know. We used to get up after 9
Yeah.
months of sleep.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that experiment we didn't do. I mean, ISRO was to be done there for the first time.
Yeah.
And, it
It
speaks
became
much
successful.
about the expertise of our engineers, and to
Yeah.
their credit, it started
Yeah.
after 9 months of sleep.
And yeah, one more thing regarding this only. In the movie, they showed that they had to shut down the entire system, and then they basically restarted the system, and then it began to work perfectly fine. Because this is what they showed in the movie. Did it actually happen?
No, there's no. But only it is the engine which was, restarted. Not because it was not doing, but we wanted to save fuel.
Oh, okay. Because in the
Okay.
movie, see, exactly this. This is an entirely different thing. You restarted because of a different reason altogether. The movie showed a different reason altogether. So that's why talks like these are important. Cool. So just to mention one more point, you also touched upon it at the very start of the session. You said that moon is mentioned in multiple Indian scriptures, right? And
Yes.
we don't have some conclusive proof, but we have a lot of theories which clearly state that the ancient Indians or the ancient human civilization were far more advanced than the current ones. They had more knowledge, and the knowledge got destroyed over multiple wars. So, how how scientifically accurate is the knowledge that we have gained from the scriptures?
You see, actually, it is after the mission that I started reading these scriptures. So
Okay.
what happens is that
Hmm.
once the mission goes, the data comes quickly,
Yeah.
but they have to be analyzed, they have to be standardized, calibrated. कहाँ से लिया है, क्या जगह है, उसमें
Yes.
क्या error है, and all that. So during that period, I read it, and I was myself surprised. It is given in my book. I wrote a
Yeah.
book called The Mysterious Moon and Chandrayaan 1 mission.
I got the copy of that book a couple of days back from Amritanjanji. He'll be joining
Uh-huh.
us in the session today. Yes, please.
Okay. So in English version, I didn't write. I
Hmm.
didn't know. But in Gujarati version and Hindi version, it has also been put in Marathi and so on, some languages, because it is a very popular book.
Yeah.
I mentioned that there were three theories in Indian
Okay.
scriptures, and
Yeah.
exactly there were three theories when I started, on this
Wow.
mission, and we wanted to prove it, and they were exactly same, but
Wow.
written in a coded way, in a
Yeah.
symbolic way.
Yeah, I'm actually a very spiritual person. So I believe that there's a lot of knowledge which is clearly existing in the ancient scriptures, which we don't know yet. We haven't decoded them. And one more thing which I strongly believe is the Earth itself, our oceans, have a lot to explore. But we haven't explored our oceans, we are exploring the other planets. So yeah, I'm just adding on to what you said.
I don't know. Our approach is scientific approach, mechanical approach. They
Yeah,
probably
yeah,
did it by meditation and other spiritual techniques. I don't know
true,
how they did it.
true.
How they for example, they say, I read during that period, that the moon has or something has 27 queens. Now, queens are nakshatras. You have to
Okay.
interpret it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then it spends more time with Rohini,
Okay.
or something like that. So,
Yeah.
but this is true that moon becomes slower when it goes there in Rohini Nakshatra, takes longer time and all that. So you have to reinterpret what is written there. They are all
Yeah.
story-like, and but I won't say that they are the correct, and you can start from there and do things.
Oh, definitely not. Definitely
Ah,
not. Yeah.
yeah.
Coming to my last question for the segment, um,
Yes.
this is a very stupid yet a very interesting question, which I just thought in my sleep. That what if one day the moon explodes, or what if the moon disappears? It is a possibility. Anything could happen, right? What if the
Yes.
moon entirely disappears? What if the moon entirely explodes? Because there are a lot of things that Earth is affected by from the moon. For example, the waves of the ocean, the lunar waves. So and multiple things. So what will happen if the moon explodes?
Well, if moon explodes, what happens is very easy to understand. These rock pieces will fall on the Earth, because Earth
Oh,
has a
that's not
bigger
good.
gravity. It
That's not
doesn't
good.
let anything go away. It
Yeah, yeah.
captures everything. So all that will fall, and we can even have big catastrophe on Earth,
Oh,
because if something like 10 kilometer body falls on Earth, dinosaurs died because of that.
yes, yes,
It is
yes.
tremendous. It changes the temperature of the atmosphere. It brings heat waves, cold waves. It brings tsunamis. It brings so many things, destruction. But that is not the important thing. I'll tell you, in the beginning, I mean, we can learn from this. In the beginning, when moon was formed, The Earth was moving only in a 5-hour day.
Okay.
The Earth day was only 5 hours. And it is the moon which has slowed it down to comfortable 24 hours
Oh.
by gravitation. You can see the water waves, but you
Yeah.
don't see the effect on the Earth.
Wow. Wow.
So you see, you get up and have a
Hmm.
cup of tea, and it becomes evening, 2.5 hours a day.
Yeah.
And you hardly make your bed, and
It's the next day.
it becomes morning. So that was 5-hour day in the beginning. Moon
Hmm.
was very close.
Hmm.
Earth was very bright in the night. And most important thing which I want to give this message is that our existence here on Earth, that is why I am studying moon,
Hmm.
is because of moon. Moon's tide
Okay.
brought the fishes and marine life on the land, the wave,
Oh.
the tides.
Oh. Okay.
It is said that the life began in oceans. Ocean is the biological soup in which the fungus and the algae and everything was produced, and from where the
Yes.
fishes were
Yes. Yes.
made.
Yes. The
But
evolution theory.
what? Yeah.
Right.
What theory?
The evolution theory. Darwin's theory of evolution.
Yeah, yeah, I'm talking of origin of life itself. You are right.
Oh. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
How life originated is in the oceans. That is one theory.
Okay.
But how man originated is when these fishes and other marine animals came in run of Kutch, for example,
Hmm.
they were left behind. They didn't go back with the ebb to the
Hmm.
ocean. And then they started walking
Wow.
under great stress. So our existence is due to moon.
Wow.
We must understand it is not just going to the moon for fun.
Yeah.
There's a lot of science behind it. You can see that ebb and tides. Bombay people know. If high waves
Yeah.
come
Yeah.
and wash the
Yes.
Marine
Yes.
Drive
Yes.
and so on. But when the moon is 20,000 kilometers away from here, then these must be very high waves, lot of water,
Of course.
inundating the whole Earth essentially, and species left behind.
Yeah.
And let me tell you also, the moon uh, sh- uh, stopped or reduced the wobble of the Earth. Earth was wobbling in the
Oh.
beginning. Yes.
Okay.
It's very harmonious, beautifully morning, and this winter comes and all that. That is not how we started. It was chaos to order we have come, and it is
Wow.
because of moon. Otherwise, maybe temperature would be 100 degrees plus as it is on moon.
Yes.
So now
Yes.
comfortable -50 to +50.
Yeah.
And so we owe a lot to moon. That's why in Indian system we worship moon.
Yes. 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 Now it all makes sense. Wow.
We
It's
worship because we say because of that we exist.
wow. I'm literally awestruck. It's amazing. So it's safe to say that Moon has the power to make quite a lot of changes on the Earth, and even the power to destruct the entire Earth if it decides to explode itself. So yeah, I'm actually speechless. Okay, so yeah, thanks for the. I think it's a very good point to conclude our discussion today.